Hello. Welcome back to another video. My name is Candace Rawls. I am half of Wealthy and Relaxed. My husband Jordan Rawls is the other half, and I'm really excited to be here with you. Today's a special video because I actually reached out to my Instagram audience and I asked them this question: what's something you want me to talk about? And so somebody responded by saying, can you do a video on breaking the doubt slash issues about relationships to accept a good one? And I thought that was a really great topic, so here we are. Before I begin, let me just do a little update about me. I'm doing well. It's a gloomy day here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am almost halfway into my pregnancy. This is baby number 2. So I've been feeling good. I'm still feeling energized. I still try to work out at Orange Theory 2 times a week. So yeah, I'm feeling good, just preparing for Thanksgiving next week. We don't have any family coming down, so it'll just be I almost said the 3 of us, but it'll be the 4 of us. Really excited. My husband's frying a turkey for the first time. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are prospering. And before we jump into today's video, I would like to start with a quote. I'm a big quote person. If you didn't know, now you know. So today's quote is says, self-doubts, and if you see me looking over here, it's because I do have my laptop here. So self-doubts, 1 second. Oh yes. Self-doubts that go unchallenged grow stronger. Challenge them and you grow stronger. And this is a quote by Price Pritchett. And I really love that quote. And it's in alignment with the topic that we're talking about today about doubts when it comes to just dealing with your past relationships. How do you get over the trauma, the hurt, and the pain that you experienced in the past to be able to accept and believe that a good relationship and a good partner is possible for you, that you know, God wants you to find this partner. God wants you to get married. You know, how do you do that? Here I am a Christian. You know, we are Christian transformational coaches. So we like to help Christians move forward in the areas of their life, their money, their business, and their career. So that's what we do here. So if you're looking for a coach, check out our services. But back to these points. I think the first point that I would have to say, before I get into the points, let me just dive in a little bit about my own story, past relationships before I got married. So I got married in 2021. I remember just being 29. I had just turned 29 and it was my birthday, and I remember taking like a solo trip to Arizona. And on this trip, I just remember just feeling like, you know, I do want to be married one day. I do want to be a wife. I want to be a mom, but I was single and, you know, I wasn't meeting the right guys. And so on that trip, I just had a lot of quiet time. I had a lot of reflection. I just wasn't happy. You know, I remember being in the club and I just left the club early. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to drink. I don't want to be in the club listening to music. I just wasn't happy with where I was. And I did a lot of reflection. I did a lot of praying. I was just praying that God would send me a good man with a good heart. And I remember even just interviewing different couples on this trip. I'd see a couple and I'd be like, hey, like, how did you know this person was the one? How did y'all meet? And so when I got back home, you know, a couple months later, I did end up meeting my then friend at the time for dinner. He asked me out for dinner. But before that, up until that time, like, I did experience a lot of hurt and pain in different relationships. You know, I remember there was a guy, we had met in college and like we were dating, and then, you know, we ended up breaking up, and then, but like something just still kept me there. So it was just like a lot of, you know, time passing where we're just, you know, still flying in to meet each other, still texting, still calling. It was just like, my emotions are still wrapped around this man. And I remember going to visit him, and I remember him telling me, I feel like God is preparing you for your future husband. I remember him telling me that. And when he told me that, that was like a big wake up call. I was like, oh, so God's preparing me for my future husband. So that means it's not you. Okay, let me wake up. That was like water splashing on my face. I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. I can't be with this man. I need to get him out of my life, because clearly this isn't the man that God has for me. So I had to move on. You know, there was just a lot of, you know, past hurts. But even through all the past hurts, I still had to believe that there was a good man out there for me, that I could still get married, even when the doubts would come. So I want to share the 3 takeaway points that might be able to help you, get through your own journey. If you're in this a single season right now and you've been through, not the best relationships, you've been through some pain in the past, and you're struggling with, how do you not carry that pain and those doubts with you in order so you can find that good person? So the first point that I came up with is, really accept the past and acknowledge the hurt that you've experienced, right? Acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge the pain, acknowledge even the role that you played in, that relationship that didn't work out. I know everyone is the hero in their own story, but also sometimes, if we're being honest, we are also the villain, right? So acknowledge what role did you play in that breakup or in, that situationship, because it's really important for us to process our emotions. And there's this book, What Happens When We Don't Process Our Past Emotions, Our Past Hurts. There's this book that I read a long time ago called The Untethered Soul. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I do want to read a few parts of this book because I thought it was really fascinating when I learned about it. So it talks about the heart, right? So the heart controls the energy flow by opening and closing. So our heart opens and closes. And this means that the heart can either allow energy to flow or pass through to us, or it can restrict the energy of flow from passing through us. And you can feel like when you're in a loving state, when you're talking to a loved one, you just feel your heart being open, but then you feel your heart close down when they do something or they say something that maybe you get offended by them or you're triggered by them in some way. You could feel your heart closing down and shutting, right? So you can feel when your heart is open or when it's closed. So different experience, this author is saying that when different experiences happen to us in our life, they happen inside because of what you're not letting pass through. So when something hurts us or something catches our attention, and it's in a negative, it's something that happened to us, it's an experience that we're not letting fully pass through, it gets stuck and it gets blocked, right? And so that's why sometimes when you are hurt, you might find yourselves constantly thinking about that person that hurt you. You find your thoughts keep going back to it because it's still blocked inside, because maybe you haven't let it pass through, you haven't processed, you haven't forgive. And so it's going to keep coming up until you are able to release those emotions. And let me see. There's another part. Let me just read this one other part for you. So it says, when you are unable to allow life's events to pass through you, they stay inside of you and they become a problem. So it becomes a problem because it's blocking and it's still inside of you. And now you're trying to move on. You're trying to find this new person, but you have all of these unprocessed emotions, all these unprocessed experiences that are still stuck inside of you, that are still being blocked inside. And so I like what he said. How can we get rid of this? How can we start to enjoy life instead of clinging to certain moments that we've experienced, right? How can we enjoy life instead of letting it block inside of you? So he's saying that if those old experiences or old memories come back up because you're unable to process them before, you have to let them go now. So what you can do is just open your heart, relax, forgive, laugh, do what you want, but just don't push it back down. Don't push that pain and hurt back down. And of course it hurts when it comes up, because it was stored with pain, but it's going to be released with pain since it was stored with pain. So you have to decide if you want to continue walking around with stored pain, blocking your heart and limiting your life, or the alternative is being willing to let it go when you realize that it's coming up, when you realize that thought, when you find yourself thinking about that person or that hurt. And so as you continue to release and forgive and process your emotions, you will be able to notice that those thoughts aren't coming up as often, or they eventually just start to fade away because you've dealt with them. You haven't just shoved them back down inside of your heart. And now your heart can be more open, more receptive to noticing the good people in your life that you meet on an everyday basis. So you're able to be more in the present moment when you are able to process that pain and that hurt and those issues that you dealt with in your past. A lot of people, we try to run from our past And running from your past isn't going to fix the problem. Not acknowledging the hurt that you've dealt with, not acknowledging the cheating you might have dealt with, not acknowledging the toxic relationships that you were in, the mistreatment that you experienced, not acknowledging it doesn't make it go away. Especially as a transformational coach, it's one exercise that is really helpful for our clients to really process their emotions. It's called a total truth letter. And you can do this with a coach. You can, verbalize this out to someone, or you can simply write a letter, write a letter where you're actually just letting these emotions flow. You don't actually want to give this letter to the person that hurt you. It's just a way to process your emotions. And it's a powerful exercise because like I said, people are trying to avoid that emotional work. But if you don't do that work, it stays blocked inside of you, and it could really start to ruin your life and block the other possibilities that could be coming to you if you, once you release this pain, this hurt, and this unforgiveness. And I remember even Steve Harvey saying that, he had a point in his life where he wanted a new car. He wanted a new car, but he had his old car in the garage, and his mom would say, okay, you keep talking about how you want a new car, but you haven't even got rid of the old car. Why don't you get rid of the old car in the garage? Start making steps to get rid of the old car that's sitting there to really make way for that new car that you want. So he ended up getting rid of that old car in the garage because why? It was taking up space. And the same could be true about you. You have to get rid of those old, emotions, those old blockages, that pain, that unprocessed forgiveness. You can't just keep it inside of your body. You have to find a way to release it and let it go. And, give it to God, pray about it, ask him to heal you and work on your heart as well. Ask him to forgive you. Let God in to partner with you on this journey. I'm reading my notes again here. So people are trying to avoid. Yep. So this is total truth letter. It's just a great way to express your emotions and realize that all emotions are really a gift. And so it's important that you realize that these emotions are there to teach you a lesson. But if you're just shoving it down, you're not dealing with them, you're missing out on the lessons that this past moment could be teaching you. And again, whether we express these emotions or not, they are in our bodies. So we have to make sure that we're not holding on to the wrong energies, the wrong emotions, so that they have to be able to pass through us. That is really important. So I think it's really easy for people to intellectualize their feelings and not express them. And that's why another reason this letter is really powerful. So in this letter, you are acknowledging your emotions of anger. You're writing down, I'm angry that this happened. I'm angry, that maybe that you're just writing all the reasons why you're angry. And then you're moving on to the next emotion of pain. It hurt me when, I feel hurt that, and you're processing that. And then fear, regret, desire, and love. And so you're going through all these emotions, you're writing it down. Maybe you're saying it to yourself, or maybe you're working with a coach and you're working through this and you're processing these emotions that you've been feeling and really just letting them release. So that's the first point, is you really have to deal with the past, really deal with the pain, really accept what has happened to you, and process your emotions and extract the lessons from them. Okay. The second thing is I wanted to say is to monitor what you're watching and listening to, because there's a lot of different programming out there in the world that's not really sending you the right messages. So if you're trying to find a good partner in this world, but you're constantly, watching television and TV shows that are just have relationships, couples arguing all the time, that's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of toxicness happening. But you're saying to yourself, I want a good relationship, I want a good partner. But every day you're watching, ratchet TV and listening to, music that's talking about people cheating. Ain't no good men, ain't no love out here. I'm just gonna focus on me. I'm just gonna get this money. Those things are subconsciously in your mind, even if you're saying like, oh no, it's just music, it's just a beat, it's just a TV, I'm just relaxing, I'm just unwinding. Those are still sending messages to you. And so I would just make sure that you're monitoring, even the words that your friends are saying. You might be out with your friends at brunch and they're like, oh girl, they always got tea to share about their relationships or what's happening. Maybe it's not really going well for them, and they're like, ain't no good men out there, or ain't no good women out there. And you have to be very mindful of what you're taking in and what you're agreeing to. You have to continue to believe, no, I believe I'm not going to accept that. I believe that there are good people out in this world still, and that God has my person out there. So you have to just continue to train yourself, when you're in conversations, when you're in your car listening to music, when you're watching TV, when you're listening to podcasts, because not every podcast that you're listening to or every video that you're watching, if you're a Christian, is godly, right? Does have the mission of God. And a lot of times, even if they're talking about marriage, it might not always be kingdom perspective and kingdom marriages. So you have to just make sure that you are filtering the right information into you and thinking the right thoughts, so that the right, what you desire can come your way. And the last thing is, focus on the vision and the thoughts that you desire, versus focusing on what you don't want all the time. I don't want a man that does this. I don't want a woman that does this. She can't do that. She can't have that. Focus on what you would desire. Pray about it, right? Journal about this person, and don't just seek like the worldly ways of what the world is telling you should want in a partner. I think I did fall into that trap when I was younger. He got to be this, he got to have that, he got to play ball. But as I got older, I realized like I was getting these men that fit the worldly standards, but they weren't treating me right. And so I had to start changing what I was looking for, right? I had to just start really focusing on the internal things. Do we have a good time together? Does he have a good heart? Does he know God? Like, I had to start looking at the internal qualities and not just so get caught up in what the world is telling me that I should want and what I should desire. Obviously, you want to be attracted to the person, but just really pray about and listen to what is the Holy Spirit, what is God telling you that you need in a partner, in a person. So I think that's really important. And then, just focus your vision on that. Focus on the good and continue to believe that there is a good person out there for you. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you were able to take away some tips to continue to, break those doubts that you might be experiencing, so that in, those issues that you dealt with in your past, so that you can accept a good person, a good one, accept a good one. I love that, accept, because you do have to accept, you have to accept that it's possible for you to have a good person. And if you go back to watch some of my other videos, I talk about how to rewrite those limiting beliefs, how to, when those past blockages that you haven't dealt with, once you deal with them, if you do find those other thoughts coming back, what can you say back? What Bible scriptures can you say back to those thoughts so that you can start reprogramming and renewing your mind to believe that, no, God has good for me. God has a prosperous life for me. God's a loving Father. I believe that he is going to send me, a good partner. And I love the word in the title how it says to accept a good one, to accept a good relationship, because it is something that you have to accept. It's a choice that you have to make. You have to make up your mind mentally that you are willing to accept this into your life, that you're willing to do the work, that you're willing to think the thoughts, that you're willing to make the changes in your life that will attract this person, that maybe you're willing to change up the places that you would normally meet someone, that you're willing to seek God more, to go into reflection, to pray. Like, there's so much that's involved. So I love the idea about accepting peace. Maybe you come from a lot of toxic and trauma and dysfunction. So even when you meet someone, adjusting to that new environment, that person might be more peaceful and calm, and you might not have no tea or no drama. So just accepting that, like, okay, this is new. It feels different. It might feel uncomfortable because you're used to the drama of checking phones and checking Instagrams and who's this girl and who's that. And you're used to that drama. We can get addicted to drama. So just making sure that you are accepting peace. You're accepting the fruits of the Spirit: joy, love, kindness, self-control, self-discipline. I think I got them all right. Hopefully I got them all right. But thank you all for tuning into this video. Again, if you are looking for a transformational coach in your life, whether you're feeling stuck on the current path that you're on, or maybe you're just in a season in your life where you want to make a different choices, but you realize you're not making those choices, and you just really want to dive deeper into how can you move forward in your life? What are the next best steps? Check out our services. We just updated our services on our page. We updated our pricing now, super affordable for you to sit down and for us to help you move forward in the life of your money, your life, career, and business. We're going to get your habits right, get your mind right, and get you deeper connected with God. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you are blessed, and be well. Until next time, I'm Candace Rawls, and I will see y'all later. Bye.